General Van Rooyen, the head of governance and policy at the SAPS Legal Services Division, has just concluded that General Sibiya had no legal right to request the removal of crucial dockets. But if that's true, why were the dockets taken? Who gave the order? And what does this mean for investigations that were left to gather dust while criminals roamed free? In this video, we will dive straight into the testimony that exposes General Sibiya and power struggles at the very top of policing in South Africa. And the answers will make you to never trust this corrupt ANC system. You are about to hear what will leave you question everything you thought you knew about Sibiya and policing in South Africa. Just watch the following clip.
A provincial commissioner is responsible for the prevention and investigation of all crimes or alleged crimes committed in the province. Where an investigation of a crime or alleged crime reveals that it relates to organized crime, the provincial commissioner is required to report the matter to the national head of the DPCI, who may, at his or her discretion and after consultation with the provincial commissioner concerned, direct that the investigation or any part thereof be conducted by the provincial commissioner in accordance with Section 16(4)(a) of the SAPS Act. In order to ensure accountability, each provincial commissioner must report to the provincial legislature annually on policing in the province and must send a copy of that report to the national commissioner, as required in Section 207(5) of the Constitution.
Sorry, General, I don't know, maybe it's the same point that Advocate Mtau was raising and he said you will deal with later on. Just looking at the organogram on page 20, reading it with paragraph 40.5 of your statement, do provincial commissioners operate under the direction of the deputies, or where do they rank in the hierarchy?
They report directly to the national commissioner.
So they cannot take directions or instructions from the deputy national commissioners?
Commissioner, when, as I indicated, let's say General Sibiya is responsible for investigations as the Deputy National Commissioner, if he requires the assistance of a provincial commissioner, he can call the provincial commissioner and say, I need your assistance on this, or there's dockets that we need from head office side for this purpose or whatever. So there will be consultation. But when it comes to the reporting and their performance as well, they report directly to the national commissioner.
Well, perhaps just to follow up on that point, and maybe put it here, is it competent for a deputy national commissioner to give instructions in a province for the upliftment or the transfer or removal of dockets without engaging the provincial commissioner of that particular province to which the dockets relate?
No, sir, it will not, because then it means there are things happening in the police that the provincial commissioner is accountable for, but he doesn't have any knowledge of that. So that is problematic. It undermines the authority of a provincial commissioner to effectively manage the police within that province.
And in fact, the commission will recall when the national commissioner testified on that aspect, he indicated that when that issue, the issue of the referral of the dockets back to KZN was being dealt with, he said to Deputy National Commissioner Sibiya, they should be returned the same way that he took. In other words, because they were removed without the involvement of the provincial commissioner, their return should also not involve him.
That is correct.
General, just a follow-up on that. In this case of the PKTT, where, as I understand it, General Khumalo, sitting at National, is the head, or whatever language you want to use, for the PKTT. Can it not be validly argued or contended that General Sibiya acted properly by instructing General Khumalo, because he's not sitting at province? yes, it relates to the PKTT, but he's sitting at national. Would you still say it's inappropriate that, forget the merits, the lawfulness of the instruction, and I'm speaking structurally, that could General Sibiya not validly instruct General Kumalo, who is responsible for the PKTT, to deliver the dockets to him?
Commissioner, keep in mind that the General Kumalo is the project leader of the task team, and he was appointed by the National Commissioner. So my understanding would be if there's any direction given or instructions given to avoid the word direction in view of our discussion, if there's any instruction or commands given relating to investigations, it should come from the National Commissioner as the person who appointed that task team and who oversees even if it is just in a reporting phase, their performance. So that would be the appropriate manner. And keep in mind that the National Commissioner can easily appoint a police official to deal with a task team. So it doesn't always relate to the fact that whether he's at national level or whether he's in the province. The fact that he was appointed by the National Commissioner for that specific task means that he needs to report and take instructions from the National Commissioner on that matter.
So the National Commissioner, you wouldn't fault the National Commissioner, and I'm speaking overreach, you wouldn't fault the National Commissioner if he had been the one that gives the instruction to General Kumalo and not through General Mkwanazi?
Yes, that would have been the appropriate procedure to deal with it, yes.
Thank you.
If I can just clarify, I'm just thinking now, I mentioned earlier of a question related to dockets, if dockets were to be transferred. Let's say there's a serial killer that operates in Gauteng and in Northwest. Then you want to consolidate the dockets under one province or one station so that the investigation can be done in a proper manner. Otherwise, you duplicate the investigation. So in that case, there may be discussions either from head office with the provincial commissioners or even the two provincial commissioners between themselves will say, listen, I hear you've got 3 dockets, but we've got 10. So please, can we transfer those 3 so that we consolidate the resources and deal with it within our province? So it's not unheard. But there must be proper consultation. The provincial commissioner cannot simply come in, or even from head office, and just take dockets. It would not be appropriate for a functionary to deal with it in that manner.
Thank you. Then proceed to paragraph 42, where you conclude.
I emphasize that this distinction in roles is important as it enhances provincial autonomy and accountability by granting provincial heads of a police service the authority to manage their forces, meaning police service, while also ensuring they are accountable to the national leadership. It enhances operational effectiveness, and this section ensures that resources are deployed efficiently and effectively across the province to meet local needs and maintain public order.
And then the next section where you identify key role players within SAPS, insofar as the engagement is concerned, are provincial MACs, and from paragraphs 43 and 44, you outline what the provincial executive is responsible for insofar as policing is concerned. And you also deal with, in 44, SAPS organizational structure, which is set up to ensure effective law enforcement according or across South Africa. Then you deal with the hierarchy and how it is comprised, and the 9 provincial commissioners and the various district commissioners, station and unit commanders, all managed and overseen by the National Commissioner. Then you thereafter deal with that pictorial depiction of SAPS's top management, which we skipped or jumped to earlier on, you recall, so we don't need to go back there. The next topic that you address is then that of oversight framework regulating SAPS. Bearing in mind that one question that we're looking at, which you deal with towards your conclusion, whether on the fact of what the Commission is dealing with, is it the question of lack of oversight mechanisms that are there that are responsible for what has brought us here? So that is where we are heading. Yes.
What do you think? Was this the failure of oversight or the deliberate suppression of justice? Your voice matters. Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this corruption doesn't end here. And if you want to follow every twist of the Madlanga Commission, hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you don't miss the truth as it unfolds. Thank you for watching.